Yeah, what the fuck is this shit? For real, you're gonna call me and others an SJW and base it off of us not even disagreeing with Dylan's views, but us having a gripe with how he argued them. If you want me to come to my own conclusion, here's my own conclusion. What is wrong with using stats when talking about the entire population of the US? Nothing. But the entire population of the US was not relevant to the discussion. Do I have to bring up what Ryan said in that discussion? Ryan never brought up stats. Ryan never compared black people's arrest rates to white people. If anything, his main point was that blacks get shot without police getting reprimanded, and that's why black people are oppressed. That's why I'd say it'd be better to use cases, more specifically of police officers being reprimanded for shooting blacks, or cases where a black person being shot by cops were justified, instead of general statistics. So you are saying Dylan should have been cherry-picking cases? No. If I wanted him to do that, I would have said only bring up cases that support your claim, instead of focus on certain cases to argue this point, which could easily lead Dylan to sources that would potentially counter-argue his claim. On the topic of logical fallacies, nice strawman. How does using stats make him wrong though? On the topic of oppression itself, oppression is being treated or controlled unfairly. Dylan just using stats of black people's arrest rate doesn't give any insight as to whether blacks get treated unfairly or not. They are just numbers. They can mean anything. They are not a story. Once again, statistics can be more accurate in certain scenarios, but in this one where the entire argument of black people being oppressed comes from popular cases, yeah, I think stats would do shit all. They have no clue on what they are talking about. No, I don't, and quite frankly, I don't care. All I know is that they are well-known stories about black people being shot by police officers, and that they are stories that BLM supporters use to strengthen their notion that black people are oppressed, which is why I only used them as examples as what Dylan could have brought up. FFS, not everything is an argument. All I provided was criticism for Dylan. I didn't argue against the point itself. With a little more nuance, I could even say I'd see where Dylan was coming from. Something brown. If you are going to use their deaths as a pawn, can you at least bother to remember the names of the people you are talking about? You say immediately after they remember the name, "Hey, this is why you don't make points like this on a live stream segment." Oh no, he was a bit stuck on what the name of this guy was. It's not as if the death happened recently. It happened 3 years ago. No shit, he'd be jogging his memory a little. And using their deaths as a pawn. Literally all we did was bring it up as something for Dylan to consider. We didn't use it to strengthen our argument. Yes, the two cases you brought up represents a country with a population of 323.1 million in 2016, far better than statistics gathered throughout the past decade ever could. No, but they sure do represent a specific ideology better. Dylan's a lost cause, aka he has different views than us. I'm sorry, weren't you just saying you're SJWs because you have different views than us? How the fuck are you any better? Another thing is your instinct to include doodle tones in fucking everything now. You say she was caught pushing a victim narrative, but other than hosting the stream where we said our criticisms, she was not involved in our conversation whatsoever, neither in the original conversation that started this whole shit. In short, you missed the point on everything I was saying, but I really don't expect any better from you guys anymore. Here's a tip. People are supposed to be confident in arguments. If what I presented in that stream was an argument, your point on me being an SJW would still be bullshit, considering all I would be doing is expressing my disagreements. And if you're gonna piss and moan merely over that, who's really the one with the thin skin here? The most I could say that would elicit such a response from you guys would be Caden saying Dylan's a lost cause, and even then, he wasn't basing that off of just the argument that transpired afterwards. He based it off of past events that happened with Dylan, and I don't fucking blame him. Yeah, Dylan said he was gonna do a video on me, and I still ain't seeing that video. Don't tell me he's trying to shove me under the rug again like he did when I addressed criticisms towards his video on Loudon. You fucking wonder why people think Dylan's a lost cause. Especially after he said he wanted to distance himself from the CC and is still involved in it to this day. Funny part is, I'm not mad at the fact that you called me out. Now, the thought lurking my mind is if I get the same reaction back.